because it means I don't have to reiterate the point that no, free speech is not some right-wing reframing of whatever. It's the foundation of Western civilization.
Konstantin Kisin had the audience in stunned silence. The room was filled with students and academics, many of whom had been supporters of woke culture. But with just one statement, she shocked woke culture followers to their core. So, what exactly did Konstantin say? In his remarkable speech at the Oxford Union, Konstantin Kisin perfectly captures the dangers of woke culture. He argues that woke culture seeks to overturn the principle of judging individuals by the content of their character.
I don't have to make the point that has been made by far better people in the past, that the only way to deal with the problem of racism is to treat people on the content of their character.
Kisin points out that woke culture divides people into oppressors and victims based on these superficial characteristics rather than their actions or merits. This division fosters resentment and undermines social cohesion. Instead of promoting true equality, woke culture perpetuates a victim mentality and discourages personal responsibility. By focusing on identity politics, woke culture detracts from addressing real issues that affect everyone, regardless of their identity. For instance, Kisin highlights how woke culture's obsession with political correctness distracts from more pressing issues like climate change, where the real solutions require scientific and technological innovations, not virtue signaling. Kisin also criticizes the woke approach to climate change, which often involves blaming Western countries for global emissions while ignoring the larger contributions of countries like China and India. He points out the hypocrisy of expecting poorer nations to sacrifice their economic growth for the sake of the environment, while Western activists enjoy the benefits of developed economies built on fossil fuels.
About one issue in particular, and that issue is climate change. We're told that many of you suffer from climate anxiety. You wish to save the planet.
In today's society, climate anxiety is rampant among the woke generation. These individuals are obsessed with the idea that the world is on the brink of environmental catastrophe. Even if Britain were to completely disappear, it would make virtually no difference in the fight against climate change. The real issue lies with major polluters like China and India.
Let us all accept right here, right now, that we are living through a climate emergency and our stocks of polar bears are running extremely low. I join you in this view. I truly do.
China alone accounts for nearly a third of all global carbon emissions, while India contributes over 7%. These countries are home to billions of people and are rapidly industrializing, making their carbon footprints significantly larger than those of Western nations. Developing countries like China and India prioritize economic growth over environmental concerns. However, telling a poor nation to abandon cheap energy is like asking someone to climb out of a well without using a rope. The hypocrisy of woke culture is evident when they demand stringent environmental policies from developing nations while enjoying the comforts of their own fossil fuel-powered lives. Kisin's argument underscores the need for a balanced approach to climate change. Instead of pushing for unrealistic policies that harm the poor, the focus should be on technological innovations that provide clean, affordable energy for all. Woke culture's simplistic and often hypocritical stance on climate change does more harm than good by ignoring the complex realities faced by different countries. To truly address climate change, we need practical solutions that consider both environmental and economic needs, not—
A third of all children who live in extreme poverty in the world live in India. That means they are starving and dying of preventable disease.
Take China and India as prime examples. These countries have used fossil fuels to fuel their rapid economic growth. China, for instance, has lifted nearly 800 million people out of poverty over the past few decades, thanks to its massive industrial expansion powered by coal and other fossil fuels. Similarly, India has pulled more than 400 million people out of poverty in just the last 15 years. This progress is directly linked to their access to cheap energy, which has enabled them to build industries, create jobs, and improve the overall quality of life for their citizens. These countries demonstrate that while fossil fuels have environmental costs, they also provide a critical foundation for economic development and poverty reduction. Woke environmental policies threaten to undermine these gains. These policies, often crafted by elites in wealthy nations, call for drastic cuts in fossil fuel use without considering the realities faced by developing countries.